Hello, my name is Amine. I'm a fintech entrepreneur and I'll be dissecting for you CBDC, central bank digital currency, a big buzzword for these days. We've been talking about testing, institutional deployment, and now we're going to talk about a very important topic, which is direct to citizen or special purpose money. Special purpose money is basically a concept that tackles money that is issued by a central bank for a special purpose. Welcome to this video. We'll be talking about special purpose money and especially from the view of a central bank. So if I am a central bank in a closed economy, of course not the Feds, not the US, and I'll tell you what's the difference between closed economy versus these big international currencies like the dollar, the euro, etc. The basic difference is the absorption rate. So for example, if the Feds prints out another $1 trillion as a stimulus, the impacts are going to be the inflationary impact of this currency printing or this currency supply will be less dangerous than if a closed economy like Nigeria prints out a bunch of money. Simply because the globe is able to absorb more dollars much quickly than it will be able to absorb new issuance of Nigerian currency. Simply because the dollar is a global currency and everyone around the world rather holding the dollar than any other currency. This is the basic dilemma that central banks have been facing since the beginning of modern times, is their ability to provide stimulus without impacting or without triggering hyperinflation. Zimbabwe is a very good example of that. And today with CBDC, it basically allows to counter this effect by developing what we call special purpose money. So what is special purpose money? Well, let's take the example of Nigeria. For example, Nigeria could decide tomorrow to target a special segment. So let's say the Nigerian central bank wants to target stimulus, consumption, local consumption. So the Nigerian central bank will basically have its own CBDC, CBDC, Nigerian CBDC. Let's call it CBDCN. It could be able, because of the nature of digital money, it could be able to issue a subset, of CBDC that is able to settle only against certain specific targets. For example, if I'm Nigeria, I want to accelerate or stimulate and encourage my citizens to consume local goods. What I can do is that I can issue a subset of CBDC that settles only against local goods, meaning that I'm a Nigerian citizen, I receive a stimulus from the Nigerian central bank, let's say an equivalent of $1,000, I go to the supermarket with my wallet and I can only purchase local goods. So I go shop and at the end I go to the teller, they present me the bill and I present my wallet, and my wallet basically has that stimulus money, but that stimulus money is pre-programmed to settle only against local goods. So if I have anything else in my bag that is not local, it will not be included in the settlement purpose. So basically what the Nigerian, for example, central bank could basically take the references or the barcodes of all locally produced goods, put it in its database or reference database, and instruct that digital asset to only settle against goods that are in the list that is pre-programmed. This way, as a central bank, I'm able to target directly where my stimulus money is spent and reduce the impact on inflation. The impact on inflation will only come if most of my citizens are using that stimulus money to bring imports, which means increase the supply of that money in the foreign exchange markets and bring in my local currency down. This is extremely important, and this solves a huge bottleneck from a stimulus perspective. We saw that during, for example, the COVID crisis, many countries could not limit imports to their countries because, first of all, they had no control over the specificity and the functionalities of their local currencies. So if they issue more local currency, what's gonna end up happening is that people are basically gonna be paying more for all type of goods, which could impact the import balance of that country and reduce the import deficit of that country and reduce the value of its currency. Through CBDC, you're able today as a central bank to target specific sectors and to provide stimulus to specific sectors, reducing drastically the impact of increased issuance of the local currency on the import deficit. This is, for example, one use case. The second use case would be special purpose money that is not for investment purposes. So I can basically give a stimulus, okay? I can send, as a central bank, I can send to my citizen direct stimulus that only can be consumed, okay? And not saved, which means that after 1 month, for example, of receiving the stimulus money, at the end of the month, if I did not spend all my money, that money could disappear, okay? Could becoming zero. Why? Because after 1 month, I'm receiving every month new stimulus. So my budget is exactly like budget reasoning, okay? So if you're allocated the budget for this year and you don't spend it all, next year you'll be allocated less budget since you need less of that money. This is another application and another use case that allows targeted stimulus to be initiated at the level of a central bank, okay? Another application of central bank digital currency or subset of special purpose money is to issue a subset of a sovereign digital currency for a specific region, okay? So many countries, sometimes they're faced with this provinciality where a province would basically start claiming that it contributes more than other provinces into the global economy of the country. Okay, you have many examples. For example, Spain with Catalonia. You have many other examples around the world where one region is the dominant contributor to the GDP, and you start to have type of claims of separatism, social unrest, etc., claiming that we are basically that region that produces more GDP is mistreated in the general accounts because it contributes, but it basically sponsors or subsidizes other provinces. This is also could be another way, another alternative of providing some type of autonomy by creating a subset of closed environments within one bigger economy. The other application of special purpose money is when you have special economical zones. So special economical zones might benefit from a subset of CBDC where the central bank ensures the convertibility of that subset within its local currency. So basically it provides a gateway to its local economy versus the special environment. So special environment or special trade zones, etc., could greatly benefit from its international exposure, but also from a sub-integration or an integration to the main economy of the country in which it lives. Up until now, these are the main use cases, and they are significant for many countries because a lot of countries basically suffer from the inability of central banks to direct stimulus money towards a special objective. And with CBDC and with the programmability of money, the ability to program money, you are able to create such environment in which you are able, as a central bank, to direct stimulus directly towards the target objectives and enables central banks to realize their mission statement without impacting the economy as a whole and without having or with reduction of inflationary effects of direct stimulus and issuance of new currency. This was it for the special purpose money. This is a sector where you're gonna have a lot of innovation. I think central banks are well equipped in order to come up with the right programs, the right terms, and the right stimulus policies in order to fulfill their mission statement and make currency a public good and realize their mission statement of safeguarding currency and providing full employment. Thank you, and I will see you very soon with a new series that will talk about the NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and its impact on the overall representation of titles and ownership of arts or any other physical asset. Stay tuned.